Super Rugby round number 3, the Saturday games. I'm supposed to be heading out to the Blues game right now, but yeah, lost my babysitter for that one. So yeah, gonna watch it at home. If the Blues win, I'll be disappointed. If the Blues lose, then I'll think save myself 30-40 bucks. We'll start with the first one. Sunwolves up against Chiefs. The unbeaten Sunwolves up against the unbeaten Chiefs. Admittedly, the Sunwolves have only played the one game. They won that opening game against the Rebels, who, to be fair, have looked pretty poor in their first 2 games. So where are the Sunwolves at? We'll probably get a better picture of that after this one. The Chiefs have made, I wouldn't say wholesale changes, but a lot of changes to their side. They've rested some of the guys that they could afford to be resting. Like there's no Sam Cane this week. There's no Aaron Cruden this week. Like Tahuriarangi has moved to the bench. So yeah, there certainly is no ALB. They shifted the squad up for this trip. So in terms of the Sunwolves squad, though, from that team which beat the Rebels, they've only made, I think, 2 changes. Mitch Jacobson comes into number 6 from the bench, and Naoto Saito comes into the starting jersey at 9. I think Rudy Page, I think he must be injured because he's not in the match day 23. The rest of the squad is the same. Michael Stolberg's still there in lock. It's nice having that bit of tall timber. I hope to see more from him. I think he conceded a few penalties last time, but we'll see how he goes. Yeah, I mean, Chiefs, like I mentioned, made a bunch of changes. Sean Stevenson's right wing. Nankiville's in at 12. Brad Weber captaining from 9. Like I mentioned, Tahuri Orangi's on the bench. Dylan Nell's at 8. Lachlan Boshier moves to 7. Adam Thompson gets a debut for the Chiefs at 6. He's played for, 3 Super Rugby teams now? Michael Allardyce is in second row. Bradley Slater gets a start at hooker. So Tokiaho's on the bench. I mean, you got to think, in terms of logical mind, the Sunwolves shouldn't be able to beat the Chiefs, but you've only seen one game. Maybe they spent that last week working on their master plan. We will see. The Chiefs are shifting it up. They're playing Caleb Trask at 10. I forgot to mention him. And you got to say they look better when they brought Cruden on, which is no insult to Trask because he's still relatively inexperienced compared to the likes of a veteran like Aaron Cruden. But still, Tian Falcon is on the bench. We will see. The Crusaders are not playing in this one. I don't know why I said their name. The Chiefs are 20-point favourites at the bookies and 14-point favourites with Rugby Forecast's algorithm. So favoured to kind of go get it done. No one's going to expect the Sunwolves to do anything. So if they get anything out of this one, it's a bonus. Travelling to the Sunwolves is kind of a no-win situation for the Chiefs. Because even if they go there and get a big bonus point win, no one's going to be saying, good job. It's just kind of, yep, that's what you're expected to do. Any less, and they will be criticised. So we will see. Next one is the Hurricanes up against the Sharks. Now, despite the fact that the Hurricanes are at home, it's the Sharks that have the kind of, at least having been in New Zealand, home advantage. They've just travelled up from Dunedin, whereas the Hurricanes are heading back after being in Buenos Aires last week and in South Africa the week before. So, yeah, it could be a slight advantage to the Sharks in that regard, but still, Hurricanes are at home. It's their first home game of the season. They showed some never say die attitude to go and win that game from behind against the Jaguares, like I mentioned, in Argentina. But the Sharks, man, from their first 2 games have looked pretty good. So I think you'd be crazy to count them out. The one interesting bit of news with the Sharks, though, is that Kieran Bosch has gone home for, I believe it's a family bereavement. So that's terrible news for him and bad news for Sharks fans because he was in pretty good form last week. So Chamberlain gets the nod at 10. Otherwise, the squad, at least the starting 15, is unchanged. So I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And for the Hurricanes, minimal changes for feeder starts this week. Evans moves to 7. Princeps at 8. Vince Aso is in there up from the bench in the 13 jersey. Other than that, It's pretty much the same team that played last week. It's still Garden Bishop at 10. Perenara, the guy who's getting all those kudos for saying, apart from Corey Jane, who said he's just a very competitive fellow. Yeah, getting kudos for admitting that he didn't score that try against the Jaguares in that game last week. But yeah, the fact that it's in Wellington, but the Sharks have the travel advantage, makes that one really tight. But that being said, Hurricanes are 7-point favourites with the bookies and 11-point favourites with the algorithm. So I would have thought close, but we will see, man. Geordie Barrett up against Afalele Fasi is going to be an interesting one because both those guys had really good games last week. The next one is the Brumbies, who I think are on a 10-game winning run at home. Brumbies against the Highlanders, man. Hopefully people in Canberra get out to this one. As I say, not on my way to Eden Park to watch the Blues. I would have been. So if you are in Canberra, get out to watch the Brumbies. They're on a big winning run. They're playing well, man. They need some love. They're facing the Highlanders, who are none from one thus far. Looked a bit rusty last week, but looked to kind of shake off the rust in that kind of late middle period of the game before the Sharks really put the nail in the coffin. But yeah, I feel like they're going to be sharper than they were last week when they seemed just a step off the pace. The Brumbies have been pretty good, but not like earth-shatteringly good thus far. So it's going to be a true test for them. They've made a few changes. Darcy Swain's back at lock. James Slipper starts at loose head this week, and Will Miller is up into the number 7 jersey. The rest of the side looks to be pretty good. And if you are a Brumbies fan, you've got to be excited for how this guy Noah Lolosio is going, because he has stepped up and filled the boots of Christian Lealiafano really well. Really, really pleasing to see him coming along. So, yeah, and if you used to watch rugby league, watching Solomon Akata playing is also pretty nice. He scored a really good try last week, so bringing those skills across to the Union game, which he used to play, but not for a wee while. Highlanders have made a few changes. Frizzell starts, Parete starts, and Theo Tompkinson's on the right wing. Josh Iwane is still there at number 12 for the Highlanders, which was a bit of an interesting question. So Ire Simone and Tavita Kurandrani may be looking to run down his channel and just disrupt. But I guess, again, with Ioane, Mackay at fullback, and Mitch Hunt, the Highlanders are going to do their thing, man. They're going to try and be mobile, and we'll see if it pays off this week. I would say the Highlanders' fate may lie in their set piece if they can hold up the Brumbies maul and try to get parity at scrum time. We will see what their backs and whatnot can do. But Brumbies by 5 is the bookies. Brumbies by 2 is Rugby Forecast, the algorithm. So predicted to be within, try that one. So it could be a good one to watch. The next one is Lions up against the Stormers. Now the Stormers haven't conceded a point in 2 games, which someone told me is a first. So that's a phenomenal effort, man. The guys haven't conceded a single point in 160 minutes of rugby. That's crazy. So you got to think that record will be broken. If Elton Yankees gets the chance to slot a penalty, just going to take it just to break that record. So yeah, it's an all South African affair, so it should be a pretty intense one. And this is the only game where the bookies and the algorithm actually split on who is going to win it. So the Lions have made minimal changes. I think it's just the one. Ras comes in the 13 jersey. From what limited action I've seen of the Lions this year, Massane at 8 has looked pretty good. Tyrone Green had a good game last week. Scorsan still looks sharp, but from what I understand, their scrum was under a fair bit of pressure last week. So that may be an area of concern when you look at the Stormers lineup. Front rows, Kitsoff, Intobeni, and Wilco Low. He gets a start this week, so Malherba's on the bench. So the Stormers will be looking to put the squeeze on at scrum time. But the Stormers are doing what the Stormers do, and they are racking up the injury count already. It seems to happen to the Stormers every year. The latest casualties seem to be Herschel Yankees and James Kutsia. It is James, isn't it? He's been really good from what I've seen of him. And yeah, he is not playing. But that gives a chance for Augustus to come in at 8. Johan du Toit moves to 6. Peter Steff still there at 7. Masimla is there at 9. So he steps into Yankees' shoes. Willems is still there at 10. From by all accounts, he's been pretty good without being the finished article yet this season. So him, kind of one of the up-and-coming guys against Elton Yankees, will be an interesting one to watch. But Stormers by 4 is what the bookies say. Lions by 6 is what the algorithm says. So home advantage and recent years, the best South African team. This season, the best South African team. So haven't conceded a point. It's going to be a fascinating one. And the last one. The reason I'm wearing the Reds jersey today is at my work they said it's Valentine's Day, wear something red. So I was like, I'm going to wear a Reds jersey. It's even got the word red on it. Nobody commented about it. No one was like, bro, why are you wearing a Reds jersey? Not a thing. When I wore a New England Free Jacks jersey, I got more comments than the Reds jersey. Disappointing. Jaguares, though, up against the Reds, and the Reds season is looking in trouble early, but it always looked like that when you looked at the fixtures list. It always looked trouble, man. Away trip to the Brumbies in that first game, and then to South Africa to the Lions, and then to Argentina to play the Jaguares. So it was always going to be the start of the season from hell, and thus far it's not been the best. Admittedly, though, they've been in both of those games. They've been within a score of both of those games, so maybe it's not all that bad, but they still need to get a result at some point. The Jaguares are looking, I guess, slightly vulnerable after that comeback win from the Hurricanes last week. Jaguares had themselves in a winning position and couldn't finish it off. So if that's going to give the Reds one little bit of hope, that's it. But remember, the Jaguares haven't left Argentina yet, so they should be fresh. The Reds have had the travel factor. They should be tired, but so should the Hurricanes have been last week, and yet they finished the game stronger. So the Jaguares definitely need to bounce back if they are going to be one of the top contenders, especially if they want to top the South African Conference, with the Stormers already one win ahead of them. They'll want to make up for some lost time here because they're about to spend a whole bunch of time on the road. So get those games won at home. They've rotated the squad around a bit. Sodoni starts at tight head. Lazana's in at 6. Iskura is starting at 9. And Delgi is back in the back 3 on the right wing. So it's still pretty steady. You still got Miotti there at number 10. So it's really good to see him get some minutes. I mean, it's admittedly in the absence of Bonija, who was the man last year for the most part. He's injured, so still got to take the chance while it's there. For the Reds, again, a little bit of rotation. Salakai Aloto moves out from the second row to the back row. Angus Blythe starts in the second row. Jock Campbell moves from the wing to 15. Feiwai Sotia is on the wing. Hunter Paisami gets a start, so it's a bit of a rotation. Hegarty pays the price. He's on the bench. But again, it could just be a wee bit of a rotation. They're still going with James O'Connor in that 10 jersey. So we'll see if that kind of thing pays off. But yeah, the Blues game is on in how many minutes? 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So I'll get ready for that one. But after these Friday games, we've got these 5 Saturday ones. You guys have to let me know your thoughts on how you think they are going to go. Do you see any of these teams remaining undefeated? That's the Chiefs, the Sharks. You can include the Sunwolves. I'm thinking 2 from 2 though. And the Brumbies, Stormers as well. And can you see the Reds picking up a win? They are the only team, and the Highlanders, I guess. The only team who hasn't picked up a win as yet. But yeah, there's plenty to like about this week's rugby. As always, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you again soon. Cheers, guys.